Hey guys, I'm Nate and welcome back to my channel. So tonight, and it's a conversation I've been putting off for weeks, and for those of you that have seen me active on the Facebook groups, we know that I've been putting it off. So tonight I want to talk about my garden plans for the spring. Because at this point we're over halfway through February, and spring will be blooming. Spring will be coming here in West Virginia very, very soon. So I have to really finalize what I want to do this spring. I've got a very bad habit of procrastinating, so I want to make sure that that's not such a problem anymore. Now, with that said, I have more or less already figured out where I want to put my garden this spring. The area just off to my right is going to be my garden area. Now, I've done some basic measurements, and when I say basic, I've looked at it and go, oh, this looks about right. So based on what I've seen, I'd say it's about 100 feet long by, let's say conservatively, about 25 feet deep. Now, the math on that comes out to something with 3 zeros behind it. I'm bad at math, so don't ask me to do it on the fly. So that's the spot I really want to use as the garden. I'm walking to another area right now, which is at the bottom of my hill, which could potentially serve one of two purposes. Purpose one is garden, and from a usable space standpoint, this would honestly be the best for a garden, just because of how wide open it is and how much flat space there is. Like, if you look behind me, this is all basically flat right behind me. The downside to using it as a gardening area would be I've got a deer problem, and the deer come onto my property from basically right behind me over that little hill. So when we come down to it, I would have to do quite a lot of work in fortifying the area against deer. So if anybody's got any suggestions on that, let me know, because this is really the area I would like to use. The flat spot that I just showed you a couple minutes ago, that is what I want to use for my chicken coop. Because that's flat, it's up, out of the way. Since I'm at the top of the hill, it'll mean minimal disturbance to my neighbors. So that's kind of what I want to do with that. But I'm open to suggestions. Either way, no matter which way we slice it, I'm going to need a lot of space to be able to put down all the food I want. The first thing I got to do is get everything started, which that's coming. That's definitely coming very, very soon. But I'm going to go back inside and we'll continue the conversation in there. So now we're back inside in my dining room, which is rapidly becoming my gardening room. So I showed you where I want to put the garden. A couple possibles, and I've more or less at this point I have made my decision. But again, it largely depends on if I can get rid of that burn pile quick enough. If I can get rid of it, I'll probably put the garden there and figure something else for a chicken coop. But moving on from there, I did want to take a few minutes, just run you guys through some of the seeds I'm actually going to be starting here very, very soon. Now, just like everybody else, I do source my seeds from multiple places. I've got seeds from Baker Creek in my gardener, and then I did buy 3 packets of Walmart seeds just because I was kind of curious on how it goes. As it currently stands, I have about 30 different seed varieties that I'm going to be planting. I think that's about to balloon up. I think somebody said they were going to send me some seeds, but I don't know. So I'm running off what I've already got. So everybody has to have tomatoes in their garden. Unless you hate tomatoes, at which point that's like an un-American thing. So right now I have 4 varieties of tomatoes that I'm going to be growing. I have from in my gardener, I have the Homestead tomato, which it looked pretty well reviewed. I've never grown tomatoes as an adult, so I don't know. I have, again, from in my gardener, the large red cherry tomato. This I kind of got the idea for after watching Jess's channel. I do have a dehydrator, so I thought that might be something really nice to slice up and throw in my dehydrator. I have, and I've never tried this one, but it looks like everything else I've always eaten. It's the Subarctic from Baker Creek. Now, I don't know if I've ever had anything like this, so if anybody's tried it, I'm curious about this one. And finally, of my tomatoes, I have Romas. Now, with Roma tomatoes, I eat a lot of salad, and I find that Romas are pretty easy to cut up and manage in a salad, so I wanted to grow those. And speaking of salad, as soon as I remember where I put it, I can talk about lettuce. Now, I did buy 3 varieties of lettuce. Standard iceberg, which I think would be a staple for everybody. I got the tennis ball lettuce, mostly because it just seemed kind of cool, and I was like, all right, this might be something kind of fun. And then the Ice Queen lettuce. Now, I've never tried Ice Queen, so I was actually very curious on how that's going to turn out. So I'm going to put a couple of those in the ground. I'm not going to grow a ton of plants from a lettuce standpoint because preserving lettuce, from what I understand, is not a super easy thing to do. So I didn't want to, trifle with that. Now, something that I am excited about, and my collection will probably grow over the course of the next month, especially as I keep reading. But I'm a big cucumber eater. I love eating them raw. I'll cut them up, putting them in a salad. I'm pulling right off of a vine, wash them and eat them. So 3 cucumbers here. 1, I got the National Pickling Cucumber because I do love my pickles. And from what I was seeing, the National Pickling Cucumber is decent for dill pickling. I got the Chicago Pickling Cucumber. Again, another pickling variety. I don't know what's better, so I figured I'd try. And then I got the Monica Cucumber. Now, this looks like one that I'm just going to slice up and throw in salads. But I'm not familiar with any of the breeds that I've eaten normally, so I don't know what's going to be what, really. To complement my pickling desires, I did buy some dill. So this was dill bouquet, so I don't know if that's actually going to be the right type. If it's not, I've got dill in the cabinet, but I figured long term I should know how to grow just about everything that I want to eat. Now, I only bought 1 variety this year, because again, it's my first garden. But I did buy some spinach. I do want to be able to grow spinach. I do enjoy cutting it up and throwing it in a salad. I just don't like buying it at the store because I'm not always in the mood for spinach in my salads, but it's always good to cut up, boil, and throw in some vinegar with. So that's going to give me some options on that one. Moving on from there, I don't know why I did this, honestly. With these next 2 plants, I have no idea why I went this crazy. And for some of you, it's probably not a super crazy thing, but for me, I feel psychotic right now. So I've got peas. I have the Kelvedon Wonder Peas. They look like they should be good. I've never had them. I don't know what the normal sweet pea is or if that's just its own variety. I got the DeGrace peas. And then 1 pea I did actually buy on purpose, specifically because of its color. I bought the blue shelling snow pea. Now, one of the reasons I did that was it looks purple. And so my mom was a big fan of purple anything, so I figured I'm going to have a section of the garden devoted to plants that are her favorite color, which is why I've got a couple of the others that I'm going to go through. I did only buy 2 varieties of beans. I have Greasy Grits, and then I bought the Purple Potted Pole for 2 reasons. 3, actually. 1, I saw that Jess had some pole beans, and I thought they looked great. 2, purple. And 3, Purple Potted Pole. That's pretty good alliteration right there, so English win. Caught my attention. Only 1 variety of corn, Fisher's Earliest. Don't know how that's going to turn out. I might increase that because my dad is wanting to have some Amish popcorn, so I'm thinking of buying some. Relevant seeds for that, just to see how that turns out. You know, my dog's just walking around sniffing right now, and he's making me nervous. So we're coming up on the end of my list. I'm about 2/3 of the way through everything I'm buying, everything I'm growing so far. Now, you guys already, if you've seen any of my videos, you already know that I have some basil going. I love cooking with basil, especially in burgers. For anybody that hasn't tried it, basil burgers, I recommend them. But moving on. So I am a little sad right now. I don't have a lot of herbs or spices that I'm going to be growing, mostly because there's not a lot of herbs and spices I like. I mean, I've got my basil. I also bought some cilantro, and I will get to why on that one in a minute. And I also bought some parsley. I know I need to get some oregano because I do want to make some Italian sauce and maybe sausage later on this year. And I grew up around Italian, so Italian is in my palate. But I'll come back to the cilantro. Just wait. I got some purple broccoli for my mom's garden. I don't know how this is going to work out, and I don't even know if it was a smart thing to do. But I did at Walmart buy some zinnia seeds, because I know that they are a pollinator attractor. So I'm kind of curious on how that's going to work. And even more so than that, I'm curious on how much anxiety I'm going to have this spring, because pollinators are bees, and I fear bees. Bees scare me. And then another seed I actually got at Walmart last night was spearmint. I don't know if you can see that right there. And I don't know what I'm going to put spearmint in, but I like the smell of it. So I figured worst case scenario, I can have some spearmint just lying around. Not lying around, but I can have some spearmint just hanging around in the house to help freshen it up a little bit, because I do really love minty smells. Now, for my late summer foods, I have some melons here. I bought the Crimson Sweet Watermelon. I think that either this one or the Cow Sweet, these are the ones that we can normally buy in the grocery store. And I love watermelon. Like, I absolutely love watermelon. It's one of my favorite summer things. But one of the things you run into with growing watermelon, not growing watermelon, but one of the problems you run into living in a desert and loving watermelon is that the watermelon crop can be hit or miss. I very clearly remember getting my hands on a few watermelon where they were just so, like, the taste were just so intense and vivid. And then there were other times where the watermelon was just like a slightly sugary water. And I didn't really like those. So I want to grow my own and see if I can find something that I really like. Now, I haven't decided if I'm going to grow these next seeds, but I do love the melon. So I bought the Hayes Best Jumbo Cantaloupe, and I also bought the Minnesota Midget Cantaloupe. And part of the reason I got the Minnesota Midget was because you could call it a Minnesota Midget Melon, which is more alliteration. So another potential English win. Before I move on to why I bought the cilantro, pumpkins. Gonna buy me some pumpkins. I don't know, I don't know what I'm gonna use pumpkin for, but I figured I might as well throw a pumpkin in the garden. I might actually learn how to make pumpkin pie this year. I haven't really made my mind up on that yet. So to circle back to the cilantro, the reason I'm growing cilantro this year is because I have some spicy peppers that I'm going to use to make salsa with. So with my salsa, I don't like store-bought salsa. It's either too spicy, it's either not spicy enough, regardless of what you buy it made with, or it just tastes too watery for me. So I really just want to make my own salsa. So what I went and did was I bought Serrano Tempequino pepper. I actually practiced that before I started recording, and then I already forgot how to say it. So I also bought Craig's Grande Jalapeno, because a salsa is not complete without some jalapeno in there. I also bought another one from MI Gardener. It's just hot jalapeno. I'm assuming it's going to be the same or very similar to the Craig's Grande, so I don't know. Now, this next pepper, this will not be in my salsas, or not the salsas I eat, but it's habanero peppers. I cannot handle the heat of a habanero personally, but I've got a few family members that absolutely love like ultra spicy foods. So I'm going to grow the habaneros and give them to them, because most of my family, they live in apartments and don't have a lot of space to grow, which is why, like I said earlier, I'm probably going to grow some corn for my dad, because he lives in an apartment and really only has a couple grow boxes. And then they're not spicy, but I'm assuming that they're what they look to be. But I bought the Keystone Resistant Giant Peppers. So I am assuming that these are a standard bell pepper, which if they are, these work really well when I'm grilling steak. Like I'll cut them up, I'll throw them on the grill next to the steak, and they'll take on some of that char taste. So that's basically it, guys. I've got over 30 seed varieties here, which over the course of the next couple of weeks will very, very likely balloon in quantity. So that's basically all I've got for seed varieties. So today I did walk you guys through my potential garden plots and my seed choice. So do me a favor, guys, if you think I'm missing out on a variety of seed that I should absolutely be growing, please just let me know down in the comments. I'll be more than happy to discuss it with you, and I might even buy some. Otherwise, hit the subscribe button, guys. I've got a ton more videos in the queue ready for editing and posting, so have a good night.